Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Tehillim Treasures, where we will plumb the beautiful depths and treasures of Tehillim from the very beginning of Tehillim to the end of David HaMelech's masterpiece. This episode is brought to you by Chazaq. Chazaq is an organization that helps public school children become Shomrei Torah mitzvahs, exposes them to the beauty of Torah and mitzvahs. Imagine for a moment you're standing in a store or you're walking down the street. You know the neighbor. You've known them for many years. You see their children riding their bike in the driveway. And you know they're Jewish. But now there's someone who can help them take the next step. And that is Chazaq, with countless programs after school and other wonderful programs to help expose them to the beauty of Yiddishkeit. If you know someone or know someone that knows someone that can help these children, then please email at psty@chazaq.org. This episode is also brought to you by Chickens for Shabbos. Chickens for Shabbos is exactly what it says it is, plus more. There are many people. There are Melamdim's children. There are Agunis. There are Grushis. There are families that do not have simple essentials for Shabbos and for life. Whatever they need, Chickens for Shabbos is there to provide. Please do your utmost to help in any way you can. We continue today with the next two kapitals of Tehillim. We are nearing the very end of this magnificent journey. Kapitel Kuf Mem Gimel and Kuf Mem Dalid, chapter 143 and 144. And 143, David HaMelech cries out, Shema Tfilosi Hazina El Tachanunoi. Hear my prayer, give ear to my supplications. David HaMelech, his whole life's being chased. He's being hounded by all types of enemies, enemies from within, enemies from without. And David HaMelech needs help escaping those enemies. And he knew that was only through tefillah that you can really escape your enemies, escape your demons. And in an ideal world, we'd be able to concentrate on every word of Shemoneh Esrei. But sometimes we don't. And so sometimes we have to pick and choose. Now this doesn't mean, Chas v'Sholom, that I'm condoning a person not concentrating on Shemoneh Esrei. A person should always concentrate on Shemoneh Esrei as much as possible. But we're human beings, and sometimes we don't have maximum amount of kavanah. I once asked my class to share the brachas of Shemoneh Esrei that they concentrate on the most. Some of them said Atachayin before a test. They want to make sure they have the smarts for it. Slach lanu if they've done something bad, or it's tshuva time. And some said obviously Rafa'inu when people are sick. Some people said Ashiva Shavteinu. No, nobody said Ashiva Shavteinu. That's not one of the ones that people have on their list. Vilam al Shinim, maybe if somebody speaks Lashon Hara about me and I'm being hounded in class, maybe. But when it came to the bracha of Es Tzemach, nary a word, almost nobody concentrated during that bracha. And it's hard to really connect to that bracha because Es Tzemach speaks about the growth of Mashiach. And it seems so far off to a young kid, especially. He's not living in a world where he has to worry so much about Mashiach. He's worried about his ball game. He's worried about something more important. And yes, we believe that Mashiach will come one day. But there is a tidbit from the Chofetz Chaim in the Sefer Machaneh Yisrael. And I actually have the tidbit. If somebody needs to reach out to me, I will send it to them. And that's a pretty good offer, because many times people have asked me for this, and I kind of lost it, but I found the Rabbi Yechiel Spero, who's a fellow colleague of mine, and he was the one that told me exactly where it is. He even brought me a photocopy. I was going to make like 1,000 photocopies, because I know people are going to want to know, and you're going to want to know this. It's an amazing idea. The end of the second chapter of the Sefer Machaneh Yisrael, which was given to soldiers, thousands of soldiers headed off to war, not to the Israeli army. They headed off to Polish army, Hungarian army, French army, German army. And he wanted to give them something that they could hold on to. And so Chafetz Chaim put out the Sefer Machne Yisrael, it's a little handbook for Jewish soldiers. And what he wrote was, he quoted from the Arizal, that the Arizal says that when a person comes to this point of Shemona Esrei, and he says, Ki lishuascha kivinu kol hayom, for your Yeshua, we yearn for, we hope, we anticipate every day. He says a remarkable thing. He says that not only does it help for the Yeshua of Matzmiach Karen Yeshua of Malchus Beis David, but it even helps for your own personal Yeshua, something that you're yearning for. Who doesn't have what to yearn for? Who doesn't have the Yeshua they need? Ki lishuascha kivinu kol hayom, we're waiting for Mashiach to come. We're waiting for Mashiach to arrive. But we're also waiting for our own personal Yeshuas. Every person has their own private things that they go through, that the mamash don't even tell anybody, sometimes not even your closest friends. Says the Chafetz Chaim, Ki lishuascha kivinu kol hayom applies even for those Yeshuas. And if you concentrate in Ki lishuascha kivinu kol hayom, baduk umenusa, try true and tested, that your tefillas will be answered. And I shared this with my class. And then the next day, I said to them, okay, who concentrated by Rifa'enu? Who concentrated by Tachayneya? Every boy had a different time when they were raising their hands for it. I said to them, who concentrated when we said, Es Tzemach David? Every single hand went up. Because Ki lishuascha kivinu kol hayom, we all want our Yeshuas. And in Mitzvah Hashem, we will get it today. Moving on to Kapitel Kuf Mem Dalid. With David Baruch Hashem Tzuri. And this Kapitel, David HaMelech, in the 144th chapter, David says, Adam lehevel dama yamav kitzel oiver. Man is like a breath. His days are like a passing shadow. Reminds me of a song. Adam dayeg ali v'd yamav v'ein dayeg ali. Adam dayeg ali v'd yamav v'ein dayeg ali v'd yamav. We're worried about the silliest thing. We're worried about money. We're worried about olam hazeh. Worry about ibud yamav, the days of your life that are passing. Man is like a breath, and life is short. The Vilna Gaon in his Sefer Evan Shleima writes that prior to a person's death, there are 3 angels that come to visit him. The first angel tallies all the minutes in this world, and he makes an accounting. How well did you use your time? Yikes. The second angel comes, and he says, let's look at all of his averos, and he makes a tally of all the averos a person's committed. Double yikes. And then he comes to the third angel, and the third angel, the one who taught him Torah, when he was in his mother's womb, he comes to see how did you do in life. And he wants to know, how did you do? Because I saw you at your very best. I saw you when you were a Kol HaTorah Yid. And Rebbe Lozer Menachem Anshach, the great Panovich Rosh Hashiva, he would think about these words every day. The Sefer Evan Shleima was always by his side, because he would think about it. Who's coming to visit me? And when are they coming? When are those malachim going to see? Did I live up to the expectations of utilizing every moment? Did I do averis? And of course, did I fulfill my potential that the Malach saw before I was born? And this is so very important. It's very, very sobering, because when we don't live up to the standards and the expectations that Hashem has for us, one day we're going to have to stand in front of Hashem Yisbarach, and He's going to give us the expectations. I recently heard an unbelievable ma'aseh about Rabbi Per, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, the Farakaway Rosh Hashiva. And Rabbi Peretz said, he was asked the question, if you could meet somebody from Olam Haba, who would it be and what would you ask him? I love the question. Made me think so much. And Rabbi Peretz had 3 people that were so influential in his life. The first was his father, of course. He said, my father would be Yechiel if I didn't choose him. The second is Shver, his father-in-law. His father-in-law was one of the great Musar giants of our generation, Rabbi Nekritz. He also would forgive him, he said, if he didn't choose him. And of course, the third was Rabbi Aaron Kotler, his Rebbe Muvik, who he says he also hopes would forgive him if he didn't choose him. But this is the question he would ask. The question he would ask is, Ma ani l'chaye olam haba? How did I do? How did I do? Did I learn well enough? Did I daven well enough? Did I utilize my time? Did I do too many averos? Did I reach the potential that the Malach saw in me when I left my mother's womb? It's a question that we all have to ask ourselves. And it's a question that in Hashem, one day we're going to have to answer. And if we think about it every day, you can be certain that in Hashem, when the time comes for those malachim to ask you, you'll be well prepared because you thought of Yaimi Saska, you thought of your death every day of life. And that's what makes life meaningful. Until next time, Zai Gezol.